Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you this morning. We're going to do a quick breakdown of Jeremy Hogan's video and get the highlights of yesterday's court hearing from the Ripple SEC. You're going to love it. It was, in fact, a win for Ripple. The little battles matter too, right? But the war is what we're after, and I think we're going to win it. And then we're going to take a look at some shocking price calls for the very, very near term and what will help the price get to those price points. Very important to know. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here. Let's go ahead and get started this morning. The numbers are brought to you courtesy of Link2. Yeah, we are at 1.86 trillion this morning, really down from yesterday because we are at 1.99, I believe, yesterday for the crypto space collectively, but we'll keep an eye on it. Bitcoin pulled back even a little more, sitting at 56,284 plus this morning. Let's go ahead and look at it. Ethereum back under 2,000 and XRP back at the number 5 spot, courtesy of the dereliction of duty by the SEC, but that may soon not be an issue. Yeah, we're going to get into it. 91 cents this morning. Everything has to take a breath, right? It can't just be up, up, up and away like Superman. Although that's exactly what went on yesterday at 91 cents. We are off 15.72 on the 24 hours, so you can see how much is retraced in just that amount of time. But we are still up 65.67%. We were up almost 100% or more than 100%, I think, at one point yesterday on XRP price. So, and that was on the 7 day. So let's go ahead and look at the range this morning. Right now, we're ranging between $1.09 and 89.41. Well, that's exciting to me because we are all the way through those resistance lines that were really tough for XRP to get past for so long. So now that we're past that, we're breaking into new ground here. This is going to be interesting to see where we go. We could see another push very soon. And like I said, we're going to talk about what could be the catalyst for those moves up in just a second. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll keep watching that range. Look at this. I wanted to say this. Coinbase posts record $1.8 billion in revenue as crypto market shoots past $2 trillion. Now, in 7 days, Coinbase is going to IPO through a direct listing. Now, I mean, I want you to take a look at this gentleman here and what he says, because it's Jason Yanowitz, and he nails it. And I've been trying to say this as short and succinct as he did, and he says it just about as good as anybody can. Coinbase just reported $1.8 billion in Q1 revenue. The Coinbase IPO is now on the desk of every single Wall Street investor. At this point, it's ignorant to ignore. And Yano put it on the table, as they say, right? And that's why I tell you, Coinbase used to be on Link2 before it went to IPO, just like Ripple soon intends to IPO. Uphold at some point in the next year or two intends to IPO. And by the way, Uphold told us, JP Terriot, the CEO, shout out to him, he told us just a couple weeks ago, there's an 80% likelihood that in the next 30 to 60 days, which is probably 15 to 20 days now, he told us that there will be connecting in an 80% likelihood, they will be connecting with a company or user platform that has 100 million users. That's what he said. And you combine that little fun fact with what IPO news we have of Coinbase in 7 days, knowing that it's an exchange and Uphold is like a broker, acts as an exchange, but more like a broker. And you ask yourself, what is this going to be worth? It's $6.75 right now. What's that going to be worth after the IPO happens? What's that going to be worth after Uphold connects to 100 million user platform? I got to be honest. If I was accredited right now, which I am not at the moment, but if I was, I don't even want to get into it. Anyway, moving on. Just food for thought if you guys are accredited. If you're not, they have all the tools you need to register, contact them. You can take the Series 65 test. You can take a practice test that's digital over and over and over and over again if you want. And you can pass that test and you don't need to meet the financial requirements. That's how amazing Link 2 is. Okay, getting on with it. One of the key catalysts for price movement, I believe, is going to be this right here. Whale alert from XRP Crypto Wolf. 9.5 million XRP transferred from an unknown wallet to Bittrex. Now, what do you suppose they did that for? Here's another one. Hashtag relist XRP, and we should be doing this on Twitter. If we're not, we should be, right? Let's keep that alive. 61.99 million plus XRP transferred from an unknown wallet to, wait for it, the soon to IPO Coinbase. But they're not offering XRP. Buy, sell, trade, or send. No, they're not doing that. So what do they need it for? Things that make you go, All of a sudden, Peter Brandt says this is called a compound fulcrum on the trader charts and can be quite powerful buy signal, XRP to BTC says. Well, Peter Brandt has been telling us for quite a long time here, XRP was a crap coin. All of a sudden, the charts and the tea leaves are reading a lot different to a lot of people, and he's not the only one. And I can tell you, that's where this green eye comes from, is Digital Asset Investor. He put this picture out, and it was really in comparison to the red eyes everybody's been doing for Bitcoin. And I'm encouraging everybody to use the green eyes for XRP for two reasons. One, we're going to the moon at some point, and we're already moving in the right direction. Two, XRP has really the goal of working to a near zero carbon footprint, and that's green too. And that is where the world is going. And that's why I'm using that. And guess who else picked up on it? Yeah, the Digital Asset Investor started a little storm here because now Michael Arrington's got the green eye too. You know, it's like hashtag relist XRP, just like the red eye for Bitcoin. I'm a part of it. And that's where I'm rolling, and so is Michael Arrington right now. Now, let's get into the breakdown here of the case, because this takes us where we want to go from yesterday and the court hearing here. Ripple scores its first legal victory against the SEC as judge grants its motion to compel discovery. This is a big win, folks. The SEC will have to produce documents related to Ethereum and Bitcoin. Now, let's get into a couple spots here where Jeremy Hogan from Legal Briefs, shout out to you, my friend. And I tell you something, I don't know, about you guys, but I am so eternally grateful for this guy being able to offer his time and his energy and his thoughts and perspectives on what's going on in this case, because I would be pretty much turned around and lost without it. That is for sure. So let's start right here and get where he breaks down the important parts of what happened yesterday. Here we go.
For not providing the documents. Her very first question pointed out what I now think was a big mistake on the SEC's part, by which I'm talking about suing Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson personally. Her first question was, did any of the cases you cite, were there any individuals sued? And the SEC's response was an honest no, and then some awkward silence. And here's the thing, the judge already knew that none of the cases had individual defendants. She already knew it, and so she was signaling to the SEC where her mind was already, and this was the SEC's opportunity to change her mind, and I think the SEC attorney kind of blew it.
Really quickly, smart people very rarely ask a question they don't already know the answer to. And that's exactly what happened in that moment yesterday with the judge. She asked a question that she already knew the answer to, because she's curious, why are you really, for the first time, coming out and suing Brad and Chris individually when you haven't really got precedent for doing it this way before? Uh-oh. First sign of trouble.
And instead of staying on point with his case authority, the attorney completely veered off point, and he goes to a talking point that the SEC shouldn't have to provide the documents about Ether and Bitcoin because Ether and Bitcoin had no ICO, unlike XRP, which did, and therefore they are obviously different. Now, this is where I feel very confident in the judge because she saw right through that circular argument right away. She jumped on it and she said, well, then if you were just asking me to decide the entire case then, aren't you? Because if I have to decide before discovery is even finished how XRP is different than Bitcoin, for example, then I'm in effect making a ruling on the entire case, and she is absolutely right. The whole purpose of discovery is for the parties to get information to prepare their case, not to make a unilateral decision that something is or isn't relevant and then dictate what's discoverable around those assumptions. And it was at this point, ladies and gentlemen, when I knew where things were heading. It was also at that point that I knew nothing the party said after that, absent something very surprising, was going to change the judge's mind on the issue because she already knew exactly how she was going to rule at that 15-minute mark when the SEC didn't zip off a prior case in which individual defendants were involved. You see, absent intervention or questions from the judge, these kind of hearings are like well-orchestrated ballets. The parties move across the floor in orchestrated point and counterpoint. Now, some are more elegant than others. I really think the SEC lawyer lost the beat there at the beginning, although he finished relatively strong.
And that really does bring us to the point that, that is the point in the case where it was pretty obvious, apparently. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. I got bumped out and then couldn't get back in. But that is the point where, you feel that the SEC lost their position on the motion to compel. So essentially what has happened here is that the judge has ruled that SEC has to cough up documents, but they're not internal documents. So it's not internal documents from lawyer to lawyer inside the SEC. She's giving them that confidentiality and that privilege. But as it pertains to documents for BTC and Ethereum that are exterior to interior communications from someone outside, let's say exchanges or others contacting and back and forth with the SEC about XRP or about Ethereum and BTC being securities and or not, this information has to be coughed up. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. And we're going to talk about how Matthew Solomon, one of the Ripple team there, I think Brad Garlinghouse's lawyer, is going to feel how he feels about this motion to compel win and where he believes it's going to take us. And I do too. But let's listen here at the 8-minute mark what Jeremy says here. Listen.
That was the order, and Ripple got more than I expected. But there are two important things at play beyond the motion being granted that you have to know about. First, with this order, the SEC is not only going to have to produce many documents, but also have to produce what is called a privilege log of documents. Now, it's just a summary, but Ripple will be able to see exactly what those documents are that are out there, all of them. Now, it kind of looks something like this. It looks like this, except this would all be filled in, so you'd even have the people that are creating the document and who it's being sent to. So even not having to produce the exact documents, Ripple will still be able to get a feel for what emails, etc. are out there, and those can be used to find additional leads for more information or even at deposition. Now, if there is a smoking gun type document out there, in the next 30 days is when the SEC will look to get out of this litigation. Now,
you hear that? If there's a smoking gun over the next 30 days, this is where the SEC will look to get out of this litigation. I'm here to tell you right now, if there is something in those documents that is unfavorable to what the case is from the SEC side, I can tell you right now, this will be the best way to get ourselves to some kind of a summary judgment or a settlement where this case is over, because I can guarantee you this, the SEC doesn't want any more mud on its face than it currently has right now. And look, I think the reality for all of us that have been in this space for any length of time, we understand that there's no way that you can prove that Ethereum was not, in fact, an ICO. And they had no punishment, there was no penalty, there was no lawsuit. And they can't deny it because Vitalik Buterin has been on video explaining how they did initial coin offering by accepting Bitcoin for Ethereum. So the reality is the judge understands this too, and I'll tell you who else understands it, the SEC. So this is really, really, really interesting motion to compel here. And how long will the SEC keep up this front? Because they cannot, without the shadow of a doubt, they cannot prove that Ethereum is not, in fact, an ICO that has gone unpunished or unregulated. So listen here.
It also conforms with Gensler getting on board. So if that is going to happen, look for that sometime in mid-May. And the second...
look for that sometime in mid-May. That'll be interesting too. Will we see Gary Gensler confirmed on the 12th? That'll be interesting. Remember, Ripple was a big money donor to MIT at the time that Gary Gensler worked there. Will his confirmation go through on the 12th? It may. I mean, if he's not a part of the settlement and negotiation of this case, it may. But will we see the settlement of this case happen sometime in May within that 30-day range as he's talking about? And is there a delay on Gary Gensler's confirmation because of the conflict of interest that he was a professor there while money was donated to MIT from Ripple? The plot thickens.
Big takeaway from this hearing is what we discussed at the beginning of the video. Judge Netburn already pretty much knew how she was going to rule going into this motion. And you can bet that Judge Torres already pretty much knows how she is going to rule on the motion to dismiss Ripple's fair notice defense. Judge Netburn is not going to order the SEC to spend hundreds of hours going over tens of thousands of documents relevant only to Ripple's fair notice defense if she knows that the entire defense is going to be thrown out next month.
There it is right there. So already understanding that this is the biggest tell signal from the judge asking and granting the motion to compel for the SEC to cough up all these documents which support the fair notice defense that Ripple has. And just as Jeremy said, if the judge was not going to allow Ripple to continue with their fair notice defense as they have been tested by the SEC to try to strike that defense away, it's not going to happen. There's no way the judge is going to say, look, you got to cough up the documents which support fair notice defense and then turn around a month later and then say, Ripple, you can't do the fair notice defense. It just doesn't make sense, and that isn't how most smart judges work. And these two judges are extremely smart. There's no question about it. So that's where we are on this day. But looky here. And shout out to Jeremy Hogan for all of that. Ripple lawyer Matthew Solomon believes it may be game over for the SEC lawsuit should they find evidence the regulator has deemed XRP akin to Bitcoin or Ethereum, noting the SEC's regulatory purview does not extend beyond securities. I agree. This is a much bigger thing potentially than we even realize. The fact that they have to cough these documents up is really telling me that there's a good chance that we're going to see something kicked up that either describes XRP by the SEC similar to Bitcoin or ETH. And because they've gotten a pass, they're going to have a tough time with this case and continuing. And if that is the case, I think we could see a settlement quicker than we even thought. All right, let's look here at some of the catalysts for price. This is Dark Defender, who I will remind you, I've been telling you since March and February, Dark Defender has been making the calls that have taken us to the price action we have seen over the last day or two. From February and March, Dark Defender has made these calls. And this is going back and looking at a chart here now using the Elliott wave analysis. And I want you to take a look at this and shout out to Dark Defender. You should follow them on Twitter if you're not following them. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at this March 18th. You can see the Elliott wave top Fibbo level and XRP off to $13. And this is really just looking at this chart very quickly here. June 21 is what you're looking at. Is what you're looking at right here. It's on point and on target right now for that. And this is looking all the way back to 2015 following a macro of the Heikin-Ashi chart XRP USD, right? Now let's go up here and look at the Elliott wave analysis, where we see the different points here. XRP to USD, updated analysis of the Elliott wave pattern. XRP was 46 cents when we made the first analysis on March 18th, 2021, right? And you see first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, and what would be the fifth leg if the Elliott wave continues to play out. And this would put us at 133, 272, and $13. Well, I think we all know that we went to $1.09. Not bad from back in March and February time frame of calling these things. What would be the big catalyst to get this price to move? Well, relisting XRP within a couple of weeks by major exchanges, which really looks likely. I just showed you the massive amounts of XRP going to Bittrex and now going to Coinbase. You know, what for, right? What are they preparing for if they don't already offer it for sale or trade or buying or holding, right? So that could be the reason that XRP could go to the 272 level, right? And then a settlement. Well, we just talked about the major catalyst for settlement, and that could be the reason that we close out the Elliott wave pattern on the 5 leg, which could take us to a $13 range. Now, I can't tell you how many people we've covered here that are technical analysts that have been watching this stuff very closely, and all of them are aligning between a $10 and $20 price point in the very, very near term. And this here looks like we are in the June time frame. So what are we talking? 2.5 months from now? You know, there is a lot happening. And when you factor in the fundamental news, which we just went over, the moving of the XRP, the judgment and the fundamentals that are happening there, and we look at this Elliott wave chart and look at the technicals, the fundamentals and the technicals are coming together. So we'll have to keep a very close eye and see what goes on with this, but that's going to do it for me today. Woo! That's a lot, but it's a lot and a little, and I like it, and it's all showing signs of going up, 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 and away, and it's wonderful. So that's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know. Guys, I Trust Capital is the best crypto tax IRA, crypto tax gold silver IRA on the planet, bar none. I got a link in the description for that, link to, and many more things. Don't forget crypto tax audit. It's tax time. Don't get caught with your pants down. He's got a great audit program. I think it's like $35 a month, and you can't beat it. It costs a lot less than an audit, and you've got the best defense on the planet. It's Clinton Donnelly, my friends. That's going to do it for me, and I'll catch all of you on the next one.